tenker jeg vi starter det. Velkommen til dette webinaret om separat innsamling av tekstilavfall. Jeg heter Gro, og jeg er bærekraftsansvarlig i NF&TA. Dette webinaret det er et del av vårt innsamlingspilotprosjekt for tekstiler, som Handels Miljøfond er med på å finansiere. Og så vil det bli opptak av webinaret, så det er fint om dere skrur av mikrofonene deres, med unntak av når dere skal stille spørsmål eller reflektere under spørsmål og diskusjon. Så i dag så er vi så heldige å få 2 stykker fra våre naboland på besøk. Anna Garten fra LSJH Finland og Kai Pil fra UFF Humana Danmark. For i løpet av 2024 så må Norge ha på plass systemer for separat innsamling av tekstilavfall. Og i Finland og Danmark så er de allerede i gang. Hva er erfaringen med ordningen så langt i disse landene? Denne bolken den kommer til å gå på engelsk før vi går over til norsk igjen, når Frode i MEPEX gir en status på vårt eget pilotprosjekt. Og så har vi satt av tid til spørsmål og svar til slutt, og så tenker jeg at vi tar alle spørsmålene her, ikke underveis. Men det er mulig å stille spørsmål da både på norsk og engelsk, men det er fint at spørsmålene som går til Anna tas på engelsk. Dere kan enten skrive spørsmålene deres i chatten her, eller så kan dere skru på mikrofonen og stille spørsmålene eller dele refleksjoner selv. And then I will switch over to English to say welcome to Anna Garten. The floor is yours, Anna. I'm going to stop sharing my presentation and you can share yours.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
and
thanks.
Thank you for having me this morning, and my apologies that my Norwegian is not as perfect as it should be, but
okay.
yeah, non-existent, let's put it that way. But yes, thank you for inviting me. We've had a separate collection in Finland since the beginning of this year, and we've been working on this for a while, but I come from LSJH. We are a municipal waste management company that's core business is really to look after the waste management in our own area in the southwestern corner of Finland. So we're a limited company, but we're owned by 18 municipalities, and this is our core business, is to provide services to the residents in our area. So we're one of several municipal waste management companies. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, you haven't shared your presentation yet.
Haven't I?
I thought you were going to
sorry.
do a little introduction first and then share it, but yeah.
Sorry about that. I thought I pressed the button, but obviously... Oh, here we go. So can you see that now?
Yes, we can see it.
Great. So we'll go back to the beginning and presentation mode. Okay, that's better.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry about that. It's when you have a full screen and suddenly you have no idea what anybody else is seeing at the other end. So yes, I've been working at LSJH now a couple of years with the post-consumer textile side. And as I said, we are a waste management company, one of 29 in Finland that does the residents' waste management services. But for a number of years now, we recognized that textiles was a valuable raw material that should be taken out of mixed waste. And it's been driven now since the 1st of January with a legal requirement that household end-of-life textiles are separately collected by municipalities. And in order to meet the requirements that came into law, we have created a model that coordinates between all the waste management companies. So to date, we have 25 waste management companies in our network, and that covers 95% of the Finnish population. The idea is that locally there is the separate collection, pre-sorting, and pre-sorting means taking things that don't belong in the collection and also the resellable, so that would be returned back into the market locally. But the law does not require anything more than separate collection, but therefore we had to collaborate with all the waste management companies. What are we going to do with all these valuable raw materials that we want to circulate? And therefore LSJH is leading the cooperative overall, so that we then receive the pre-sorted end-of-life textiles from the other waste management companies. So we have a model that covers the whole nation, rather than each municipality having to think about it on their own. But being ambitious, we set ourselves a very high goal to find the best circular solution for all the end-of-life household collected textiles. And our mission really is to utilize this material as raw material for industries and enable circulation. So in a sense, we're the very last, but we're also the very first of the cycle. It's thinking of how we can utilize and how we can circulate as a raw material. Of course, the best circular solution is resell, because that is using the product in the purpose it was made for in the first place, repair, and all the rest of those solutions, so that upcycling. But then at some point, the textiles are not able to be circulated or used anymore. Therefore, we had to have a solution for that as well. And this is the end of life, in a way, box that we're working on. So the basics principles we're working on is nationwide collection and sorting. Sorting is vital because we want to look at the material base, so the composition. We're not looking at color, we're looking at what fibers each of the items has, and looking at how that can then be utilized further. So we do a lot of custom sorting as well, depending on our or customers who provide the next process. So we're looking at separating the different fractions so that they can be utilized. But this also means that we're very much involved in different product development projects with our customers. They give us the definition of what they need, and therefore we can then meet that need, and using our raw material is often a very new material which hasn't been tested before. So we need to work with our customers to see what is their process and what is their requirements, and what are the criteria and the standards that they need. And you can see here some of the basic fractions and separations that we do. We do cellulose, which is 70% natural fibers, because most garments are not 100% something. Our cotton, I would say, that is about 98%. We guarantee 95%, because there are always items or labels or yarns in them, and very few items are 100% cotton, especially when it comes to household textiles. Denim is easy to separate, linen, wool, man-made fibers. We also look at the structure. Then there's the synthetics, which is 70%. And then we do PES, which is actually polyester, which the same purity levels. But the idea is that we look at what we have. We need to know whether the hard parts are able to be processed, or do we need some sort of process by our customer in order to find or remove the hard parts, or is there elastane content? Because we don't deal with monomaterials. We deal with very mixed fraction or mixed textiles, which then have to be utilized in one way or another. As you can see, we are increasing. We're a small country in terms of when you look at here the figures from Germany or France or Holland, as I did this morning. But the idea is that we're able to utilize this end-of-life textile, and we are trying to resell. The reason why, for example, the resell is quite a high figure at nationwide is because we've got a lot of local authorities who are able to resell locally. whereas our own resale is only a smaller, because we're hoping that our inhabitants or the residents in our area are understanding that if it's a resellable item, they put it into the charity collection rather than the end-of-life textile collection. But we are preparing to increase amounts, but we're also realizing that we've got a lot to offer and share, which we want to, because we cannot do this alone. In Finland, we can't look at just the boundaries. We need to look at collaborating and building supply chains, building value, and finding all the different materials a new purpose. And therefore, we're part of lots of consortiums and projects, but also knowledge sharing. And we've also been able to get our products Finnish social enterprise and key flag certificates. And we're in the process of getting GRS certification as well. So we're in this not as a charity, not we want to make this viable. And therefore, we have to look at this from a sort of bigger point of view of how do we solve this and get the circularity going. I wanted to add a couple of success stories here. Fiber to fiber is possible. These are examples. We have Pirtin Kehrämä, who makes 30% recycled wool from us and 70% Finnish sheep's wool products. They have a commercial product available on their line, and they also have been able to color it to different shades. We had the Copenhagen Fashion Week, some of our fibers in term by Latimer, a designer on the catwalk, which was great. We've had our denim made by Jokipin Pellava into commercial products, and the fiber to fiber is possible, but this isn't the only option. And here are some of the background how we've been progressing. So for a number of years now, we've been piloting, testing, identifying, expanding our network of waste management companies. We had a pilot line in Paimio, which opens to fiber, because we wanted to check how do we process and how do we get these materials into the next stage. But we're now looking really at expanding our core, which is collecting and sorting, because that's, as far as we're concerned, is the most important thing, is to get the automation and get that part of the recycling working. And we have investment plans for Topinpuisto. We have some funding for it, but we want to collaborate and find other partners as well who are able to tell us what the market needs are so that we're able to meet them as well. And I don't know how I'm doing for time, but a little pitch here.
You've got another 10 minutes if you want to.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, there'll be plenty of time for questions then. But we cannot do this on our own. We need partners. And in order to do that, we need to find new innovative ways and creative ways from product design to product development that could utilize this. And we need industrial partners as well who do the mechanical and the chemical processing. There's also thermomechanical, which is an option, but we don't have these utilization industrial scale processes in Finland. So we need to really look at the Baltics and Scandinavia and the Nordics as a whole, as a region. But we also need automation and material handling processing so that when in 25 for separate collection is going to come very soon. And when we're thinking of our investments of expanding, we're thinking we're running out of time because the EU textile strategy at the moment is causing a bit of a breather for us because we don't know who is going to be responsible for this. But we really do need solutions now. We can't wait till 25. We are already been doing this for many, many years, but we also need partners for the reuse and the resell and the upcycling, as well as the industrial processing. And I think, as I said, we need ecosystems, we need investment. We don't need investment only in sort of research and technical processing, we need investments also in the actual physical industrial production. But this means collaboration as well. So if we can create these supply chains where there is a guarantee that things are going to be moving forward, and we're finding customers for our customers, and often having to guarantee that if we do produce the next stage, that they actually have a demand from the markets as well. So these are often very complicated and long supply chains and processes that are required, be it mechanical or chemical. And a lot of the chemical processes are coming, but they're still in piloting stage. So in 26, for example, Infinited Fiber Company, we won't be able to supply even a fraction of what their raw material needs are. But for the time being, they don't have that yet because their big processes and their big production is not started yet. But it is possible to do these things right now. And therefore, we need customers who are interested in how they can process what we produce further. I'm used to doing a really fast monologue, so I'm hoping that I'll get some feedback and questions, because we strangely have time. So what we really want is sustainable cooperation, and you can find some more information about our process in our postconsumertextiles.com websites. But that is a lot of it currently aimed at the fiber opening, but we're sort of stepping back from the fiber opening now, and we're really concentrating on the sorting and the collection, which is what we're good at. But we still have partners who can do the fiber opening, so that's not a problem. But often a lot of my customers say they need the fiber, and then they need the felt mat. And we need to find companies who are able to produce the felt mat, and then we need companies who are able to buy the felt mat. So these are very sort of complicated chains sometimes, but this is where I'm sort of throwing the ball to everybody and saying, help us out, because we can do this, it's possible, but we need collaboration to do this and cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. That was a really interesting presentation. And I've got a few questions for you already, but I think we're going to save all the questions till the end. And then we'll just do all the presentations before we start asking questions. So great that you can join us for the question and answer and discussion bit as well, Anna, a bit later. And now it's Kai. Kai, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready, and I will try to share my presentation right away. I hope that it works.
Yeah, it looks promising. There we go. We can see it now.
Very good.
Yeah.
First, thank you very much for inviting me for this webinar. I will start with making it clear that I have the intention of my presentation is to describe the Danish system. So I do not have a particular company angle on this. It's the Danish system as such, and how we have come to where we are now. And then I will use the terms reuse and recycling, and just to know what I mean with that. Then reuse is when a product is used for what it's made for initially, and recycling is when the material is used in most cases for something completely else. So this is how I will use these terms. Now I'm trying to shift the slide. Does that work?
Yeah, yeah, it's
very
good.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself.
The system that we are currently implementing in Denmark started in 2020 with the approval of the climate plan for a green waste sector and circular economy. And the intention of that plan is to have less waste and more recycling, and the recycling of scale, and also to create some market advantages for Denmark. And the climate plan had several initiatives, and the one that is important in this connection is increased and streamlined waste sorting. prior to the climate plan, then each municipality in principle could have their own waste handling system. But with the climate plan, it was streamlined. And that streamlining included that 10 waste categories, 10 standard categories was selected to be implemented in all municipalities and to be collected near the households. And then there was, for us, an interesting initiative also, that the charitable collectors must have easy access to the reusable textiles. Just like in Norway, then Denmark has a traditional collection of reusable textiles. We've had that for many decades, and it continues because it's well functioning. There's no need to change that. The climate plan means that the textiles now will be collected in 2 streams. There's the stream 1, as I call it, which is the traditional collection of clothes, shoes, and textiles for reuse. And then the new stream, stream 2, which is textile waste for recycling. And it's up to the citizens to perform a basic sorting of their own textiles into these 2 streams. Then you can say that there's actually a 3rd stream, because since stream 2 is intended for recycling, then there are some textiles that are absolutely useless. They're too dirty or too damaged. They go into the residual waste. But these 2 streams are the ones that we consider in the Danish separate collection of textiles. This is a terrible slide, and I'm not going through it. It's just to emphasize that the implementation of the system in Denmark was prepared very well, and in many different levels and in many different steps. And this is an overview of the most important parts. And I assume that the slides from this webinar are shared after the webinar, and then you can use the links, because they give access to some very useful information. But from this slide, you can see that the whole idea was introduced in 2020, and then the different actors in the sector, all the different parts who have their part of implementing this new system are involved at different stages, ranging from interviews with individual actors to one of the most important parts, in my opinion, the Textile Waste Partnership, which was an initiative by the Danish EPA, the Environment Protection Agency, and also coming with some clear guidelines to what should be in the textile waste category. And then because it turned out to be harder than anticipated to start this system, then the deadline for the start was moved from the initial 1st of January 2021 until the 1st of July this year. So we have had this functioning nationwide just a couple of months. The system is one system. There are these 10 standard waste categories, of which one of them is the textile waste, but the implementation methods are many, and the photos that you can see in these slides are just indicating how this collection of textile waste is implemented differently. In the upper left photograph, you can see it's from a recycling station, and you have the traditional collection of reusable textiles with a green label on the containers to the left, and you have the new second stream of textile waste with red stickers to the right. So we have both categories here in the same place. Then there are two photos of plastic containers. It's a different ways of collecting the textile waste. The one in the bottom has a little red plastic bag standing in front of it. That is the textile collection. The container itself is for residual waste. The upper right photo, it's a dedicated container for textile waste, and it will typically be located near to containers intended for some of the other waste categories. And the photo in the center is just a photo of what it looks like, some of the textile waste that we get when it's not in plastic bags, for example. In 2022, then the EPA, they made a survey of how it's going so far with the implementation of the separate collection of textile waste. And all municipalities were asked, and 28 of the municipalities, they responded to the questionnaire. Those 28 municipalities were some of those who had actually started at that point. And there is a link to that questionnaire, and it's really interesting because it covers not only the challenges of starting a separate textile waste collection, but also the different ways it was done in reality. So there's a lot of very useful and practical experience to extract from this report. Another very important thing that was done to make it possible to perform this, to make this new system a success, is information towards the citizens. And the EPA made a material which is made available for all municipalities, but also for the citizens in Denmark to understand what this new collection is about. Not all municipalities are using this, but it's in my opinion, a very good package, and I recommend that you use the link and study what's in it. It's many different things. I have showed one example to the right here, a way to step by step to assess whether the textiles that you have in your wardrobe should go to the reuse stream or the recycling stream. And the package contains much more than this. Something that, both folders and stickers and a lot of other things. The organization that I work with, UFF, took up sorting of the textile waste to see what's in it. This was a very important step, it turned out. There was an assumption, of course, that the citizens of Denmark would not overnight learn how to sort the textiles correctly between the reusable textiles in stream 1 and the recyclable textiles in stream 2. So we have sorted several tons of textile waste so far to see what's in it. And the conclusion of it is that regardless of how you define your collection of textile waste, then the textiles have to be sorted. I will show what we found a little bit later, but first emphasize that as a part of the textile partnership, which was initiated by the EPA, then we had a lot of knowledge building and experience sharing among the participants in the textile partnership. And the photos you can see now are from one of the very important ones. It was a practical exercise, you can say. We invited all the participants for one day of textile waste sorting, and it was an excellent opportunity for everybody to see what is actually in that textile waste. So the people you can see in the photos, it's people from the textile industry, it's people from the EPA, it's people from the municipalities, it's researchers. It's a very good mix of people to realize for themselves what we are dealing with. So this is a a rough overview of what's in the textile waste. It's the overall experience for the textile waste, which we sorted last year. What it should have been, if it was perfect from the very first day, then it should all have been what is marked with the yellow color here. It should be recyclable textiles. And as you can see, it isn't. There were 34% reusable textiles of different qualities, but all of it reusable. Then these 25% recyclable. And then there's 32 textile waste. And in this case, then textile waste means completely useless textiles. They are wet, they are contaminated, they are stinking. Nobody wants to try to make anything out of them. Then there's 8.3% shoes and bags. Some of the shoes and some of the bags are reusable, but they don't belong to the category textile waste in this case. So this is why they have been described in their own right. Then there's 1% other waste. Some of this is the packing material. Then a few things which does not at all belong to this category. I think this does away with the negative assumption that people will misuse the textile collection, the textile waste collection to all other kinds of waste. That is not the case. Some of the big waste management companies in Denmark have prepared themselves for industrial scale sorting of textile waste. This is one of this photos from one of the companies. You can see a very simple setup, which is made for very big volumes to be sorted very quickly. And that is, in my opinion, a very good to do this, considering that after all, this is a waste. There is a share of reusable textiles in it, but that is sorted out in this pre-sorting, and then the waste part is dealt with in a very professional way. At UFF Humana, then we are right now cooperating with the city of Copenhagen, Danish Technical University, and a consultant company, and two companies in Denmark making technology. The point of the project is to find out if there is an advantage in drying the wet clothes. There's a lot of talk about wet clothes, how damaging it is, how it's contaminating the dry clothes and so on, but so far very little fact. And Copenhagen City decided to find out about the fact part. So we now have in our yard one very big drying machine. You can see a photo of the inside of it to the right. In our pre-sorting, we separate the textiles that are only wet, meaning they are not dirty, they are not stinking, they're just wet. Normally, then they would be defined as waste just like that, only because they are waste. But now we are putting it into the dryer to see if we dry, then can we then recycle it, or maybe even reuse some parts of it. We are not able to answer those questions yet, but by New Year, this year, when the project is over, then we know if it's worthwhile, considering the investment of labor and energy, if it's worthwhile to dry the wet textiles, and then elevating them in the waste hierarchy away from the waste level and up over the border to the product level. That was about the collection of textile waste. Then a few considerations or reflections about the extended producer responsibility for textiles, which is described in the proposal for amending the Waste Framework Directive. I have to emphasize that these reflections are my own. It's not the general Danish reflections, but here they come. There's a very important article in the proposal which states all separately collected textiles are considered waste upon collection, and that is something new for we who live in the Nordic countries, because here the general opinion is that it's up to the person who throws for recycling or destruction, which is waste. But here another idea is introduced, and this is something that we have to be aware about. Then there's another article which says that the product responsibility organization, that organization is described in detail in the proposal, but that organization is not allowed to refuse the participation of social enterprises and other reuse operators in the separate collection system. I'm concerned about that part because I think that in order to get everything out of this separate collection of textile waste according to the waste hierarchy, it's necessary that those who do it, they have waste experiences, and not all the social enterprises and not all the reuse operators, they do have experiences with handling waste, and it's something that must be considered. Then also the proposal is not very clear about who owns the separately collected textiles. And in my opinion, then it's important that the authorized collectors, whether they are social enterprises or professional waste management companies, that they have the ownership of the textiles. There's in the end a very important question about the end of waste criteria. It's in my opinion fundamental for a clear understanding of extended producer responsibility when we are talking about waste and when we are talking about non-waste, and that is not made clear in the proposal. So it's another thing to think about. And then the very last thing is some conclusions and recommendations based on our experiences so far with the Danish system of textile waste collection and handling. It is, first of all, that this is something completely different than what we are used to, meaning the traditional collection of textiles for reuse, and it's much more complex. The handling of reusable textiles is already complex. Now a completely different level of complexity is added to it. Then it's very important that the system is prepared well. I think it's been quite well prepared in Denmark by our EPA and the municipalities and the waste management companies. It is necessary, and this is regardless of 1, 2 streams or any other number of streams. It must be prepared very well. It must also be followed up by a lot of information, particular towards the citizens who are going to make the initial sorting. That information must be professional and it must be consistent. There is unfortunately a lot of confusion in the information in Denmark because many different actors of which some do not have any experience or knowledge about textiles at all, have opinions about how this should be done and what is the difference between reuse and recycling, for example. It has to be consistent to be useful. Then I could understand from Anna that the cooperation and the coordination of this is very important. I completely agree. I would maybe in particular emphasize the coordination since there are many different initiatives at the moment. And to pick one, then the automated sorting of textile waste by fiber type and even color has started in all the any of them have a satisfactory supply of raw materials or a satisfactory number of customers to use the products. And this is maybe one place where better coordination could have been useful for all parties. Then, as I mentioned before, sorting capacity is absolutely fundamental. At the moment, then for us, it seems that the manual sorting of the textiles is the best way. I still think so, but I also see a very good reason that some of the recyclable textiles is sorted automatically, since this is a much better method. And then, as the final conclusion, we have to keep our focus on the top of the waste hierarchy, because here is where we have all the benefits, both the economical benefits and certainly also the environmental benefits. That is it from my side.
Great. Thank you so much, Kai. That was really interesting, and very happy that you can stay with us till the end and perhaps answer some questions. So I'm going to switch over to Norwegian again. Frode, da det din tur. Frode i MEPEC skal presentere innsamlingspilotprosjektet i Norge.
Takk for det, Gro. Da skal jeg først dele her, så... Feil. Den grei der, Gro?
Jeg ser bare en svart skjerm. Jeg vet ikke om det tilfellet. Ser du noe, Kai? Ser du en svart skjerm? Nei.
Jeg ser en svart skjerm.
Ja.
Da deler jeg på nytt.
Der, nå ser vi den.
Flott.
Ja.
Takk for invitasjonen. Da skal jeg gjøre en oppsummering av dette nasjonale prosjektet som NF&TA prosjekteier for, og vi har hyret inn som prosjektleder, eller jeg da, sammen med MEPEX-teamet. Det jo veldig mange som holder på med dette prosjektet. Det ikke avsluttet. Jeg skal fokusere i dag, har jeg satt med en liten agenda her. Jeg trenger ikke gå gjennom den. Vi skal fokusere litt på de foreløpige resultatene. Det jeg vil si at det veldig mye erfaringer og ting vi får ut av et prosjekt, så vi gir jo bare en smakebit i dag, og vi heller ikke ferdig. Men jeg tror det veldig viktig å prøve å underveis dele informasjon og kunnskap, i og med at det så mange som i startgropa til å komme i gang her. Det et veldig bredt samarbeidsprosjekt, og det har vært mye snakk om behovet for samarbeid og koordinering, og det har vi på en måte fått til, og vi snakker om helhetlige løsninger for alle tekstilene som kastes til restvalget, og det som i dag leveres til ombruk. Vi prøver å få tenke totalløsning, litt uavhengig av hvilke systemer man har i dag. Men selvfølgelig kunne bygge videre på de systemene. Som Kai har vært inne på, dette med rammevilkår for tekstiler under utvikling, så det har på en måte vært veldig viktig her, at vi ikke sitter og venter på alle reglene, men at vi må få praktiske erfaringer. Og da det 6 regioner vi har fått til samarbeid med her, så det superbra. Altså, noen med og vil være med og teste. Og vi startet prosjektet i august i fjor. Vi fikk vel, og vi skal avslutte i løpet av oktober i år, og vi fikk vel et tilskudd avklart i desember fra Handels- og Miljøfond, som helt avgjørende for på en måte, det omfanget dette prosjektet har fått. Da. Så de praktiske pilotene kom i gang i februar, de første, noen i mars, og de løper ut september, men det noen som, i hvert fall jeg som har sluttet allerede. Finansieringen jo handelsmiljøfond, NF&TA har spyttet inn penger, og kommunen også bidratt som et spleiselag her, og selvfølgelig har også egne kostnader. Og piloten inkluderer jo både dette med hvordan forbrukeren sorterer, hvordan vi samler det inn, hvordan vi grovsorterer det, og vi har også inkludert fibersortering, og selvfølgelig sortering for ombruk og matravning. Her oversikten av alle samarbeidspartnerne. Jeg tror det kan være noen flere her også som ikke nevnt. Jeg var jo for eksempel i Malmö i går hos Siptex, som også nå kjører tester på det materialet vi har fått inn i piloten. Men det har vært helt avgjørende også for å få med oss innsamlerne og få de med så det har vært en veldig styrke for prosjektet. Og samfunnsbedriften med, og teknologileverandører og så videre. Så det har vært det har vært en av styrkene i prosjektet her. Jeg skal ikke gå dypt inn i det, men det jo disse 6 regionene dere ser her. Og det jo da begrenset på de 3 øverste henteordninger her, og det jo ganske begrenset omfang. Da velger du ut et boligområde som måtte etablere en henteordning, og det seg selv jo en utfordring i forhold til ikke minst på kommunikasjonssiden. I Trondheim så fikk innbyggerne utdelt en sekk som de skulle legge ødelagte tekstiler i, mens de skulle levere ombrukbare til de vanlige tekstilboksene i området. I Lørenskog, de valgte en løsning hvor innbyggeren kunne få lov til å kaste ødelagt og brukbart i samme sekk for å forenkle den delen. Begge de hadde ganske høy hentefrekvens hver 4. uke. Det var selvfølgelig ikke alle som bruker det hver gang, men det var jo litt for å få en litt godt erfaringsgrunnlag i løpet av piloten også. Lørenskog har egentlig 2 varianter, hvor den ene å hente på døren, den andre jo at man har en miljøbil eller en sånn farlig avfallsbil som kjører rundt på faste steder på tider og plukker opp. Fredrikstad har en bestillingsordning, og de har da gått til det skritt å både dele ut 2 sekker, så innbyggerne skal kunne sortere brukbart og ødelagt, og levere det, bestille henting og få det hentet. Det har vært ganske hyppig, den hentefrekvensen. I Stavanger valgte man en modell hvor man egentlig bare brukte de vanlige tekstilboksene i en bydel, avgrenset bydel på Hundvåg, og hvor informasjonen egentlig var bare at nå kunne du levere både ødelagt og brukbare tekstiler i disse tekstilboksene. Så det var 4 forskjellige innsamlingsorganisasjoner hadde tekstilbokser i området, og de ble omprofilert for at man skulle da kunne legge både ødelagte og brukbare tekstiler. I Bergensområdet, Dramsregionen, har man testet på gjenvinningsstasjoner, og der var det vanlige bokser til ombrukbare tekstiler. I tillegg har man da fått nye beholdere, plastbeholdere, ute på rampa rett og slett, hvor man mer eller mindre redder det fra restavfallet. Ja, så og så har det også vært satt opp løsninger ved siden av den ombruksløsningen. Jeg skal komme litt tilbake til det. Vi har jo fokusert veldig mye på datafangst, og jeg har hørt på de 2 foregående nå, så at det jeg kan si at egentlig det ikke noe mål i Norge om hvor mye godt systemet skal levere. Men utgangspunktet for dette prosjektet har vært at man først etablerer en tekstilinnsamling, så må den jo få mest mulig ut av restavfallet. Og vi har derfor fokusert veldig mye på datafangst og prøve å registrere endringene som oppstår når vi innfører disse nye løsningene. Både hva vi får inn i piloten, men hvordan det også påvirker innsamlet mengde i tekstilboksene, og hvordan det påvirker hva som ligger i restavfallet. Vi har da også gjort grovsortering av tekstiler på 4 steder, eller pre-sorting som vi har hørt om nå, eller forsortering, hvor man sorterer ut det ombrukbare, både klær og sko og vesker og sånn, og da det som regnet for matravning, og der har vi sortert i 2 kvaliteter. En som da skal kunne gå til automatisk fiber-til-fiber sortering, eller detektering og sortering, som da har blitt sendt til noe til Tyskland og noe da til Malmö for sortering der. Og så da den andre delen har vært en downcycling-kvalitet som jeg har omsider fått avsetning på alt sammen. Fibersortering, den ble gjennomført en test i Koblenz der, hvor jeg kjørte en del materialene dit, og den Siptek-testen som jeg var med på i går i Malmö, for å se på utbyttene der. Og vi har gjennomført plukkanalyser. Det vel en gjeng inne hos Fretex i dag og gjør analyser på materialet fra Fredrikstad, og vi skal ned til Fredrikstad i morgen. Så vi jobber med både analyser av restavfallet og det som har kommet inn i tekstil- eller innsamlingsløsningene, og det som i tekstilboksene faktisk også. Jeg skal ikke legge så veldig mye vekt på tallene her, bare for å vise noen foreløpige tall, så det jo, dette reflekterer jo egentlig bare at det stor forskjell på størrelsen på pilotene og hva man har fått inn. Det jo mindre selvfølgelig de små henteområdene. Men ser vi på dette, det oransje her hva vi har fått inn i piloten-området. Mens da den referansebanen, den jobber vi fremdeles litt med, hva som ville vært resultatet uten at vi hadde denne piloten, og den litt måter, så jeg ikke legger for mye vekt på den referansebanen ennå. I Stavanger den ikke tatt inn nå heller, fordi der det vist bare hva som ble samlet inn i totalt, både ødelagt og brukbart i den bydelen i Stavanger som var med i piloten. Men vi ser i hvert fall at det gir en betydelig vekst i utsorteringen, og spesielt da kanskje på 2 av henteordningene her som peker seg ut. Og her jo litt resultatene fra grovsorteringen. Skal jeg bare finne fra mobilen så jeg har kontroll på tiden. Og det litt som Kai sier, at vi får, der hvor innbyggeren skal sortere ødelagt, så det jo stor andel ombruk. Det ser her mellom 40 og 55% i de 3 nederste bringeordninger hvor innbyggerne skal legge ødelagt, så var en høy andel ombruk. Ser vi på Fredrikstad på toppen her, så det bildet litt der, viser at I hvert fall når innbyggerne har fått 2 sekker, så det veldig bra kvalitet på ombruk, det som I ombrukssekken, mens det som skal være ødelagt, der har den siste analysen gjorde 24% brukbart, som ombrukbart. Det kommer nye tester nå, så vi får den datafangsten ikke ferdig. Men det viser på en måte at det mye egnet til ombruk I alle systemer, og vi ser jo også I alle restavfallsanalysene at det jo selv etter at vi har nå gjennomført disse tiltakene, så det mye av det som I restavfallet en høy andel ombrukbart der også. Så jeg tror ikke jeg skal gå inn og drøfte disse resultatene veldig mye nå. Det var nevnt litt dette med fukt, og ikke minst I Danmark, hvor man skal drive og se på tørkemetoder. Det har vært en del problemer med fukt, og også til dels løse tekstiler I ordningen på gjenvinningsstasjonene. Så der det nok behov for å se litt på løsninger, men I henteordningene har det egentlig ikke vært noe problem med fukt. Det har vært litt erfaringen tidligere fra andre henteordninger, men det kan ødelegge veldig, og dette med at det også må være emballert, og det viktig informasjon at det ikke skal ligge løst I noe systemet, for da blir det fort at du kan ødelegge større mengder. Hvis du ser på den andelen av det ødelagte tekstiler som egnet for automatisk sortering, så har den ligget rundt pluss minus 50%, bortsett fra den ene sorteringen, hvor det Kirkens Bymisjon som sorterer I Drammensregionen. Der har de fått en ganske lav andel, og det forklarer mye at de har veldig god avsetning på mye av ombruk av sånn husholdningstekstiler som håndklær og sengetøy og sånn til faktisk inn mot Ukraina nå. Her litt av den fibertesten på utbytte I fibersorteringen. Og vi har sett på alle, så har det vært veldig høyt utbytte på cotton, over 95% cotton, men vi liksom rundt 55%. Og fra BIR så var vi oppe I 60%, og da den kjørte også I Siptex I går, og I Malmö, og de sa det var den beste kvaliteten jeg har hatt. Det var jo så høy andel om bomull. Men også cotton, du kan få I dag avsetning for cotton over 70, så det ikke en ganske ubetydelig del som faktisk da går videre til fibergjenvinning her. Jeg skal ikke vise så mye av det, men det var veldig morsomt å se at vi fikk høye utbytter på denne kvaliteten her I går da. Så grovsortering, som har vært påpåket videre, blir viktig for å få ut ombrukspotensialet, at så spørsmålet hvor langt vi kan komme I å få forbrukeren til å få den sorteringen riktig. Men manuell sortering blir også viktig for å skille kvalitet til automatisk fibersortering, og med de nye reglene så må vi inn og se på en helt ny struktur for hvordan vi sorterer tekstiler I Norge. Relativt tidkrevende, så det vil koste noe penger her, men her må man jobbe med effektivisering, og det var jo Kai også litt inne på her, at man snakker om mer effektive manuelle sorteringsløsninger. Kommunikasjon har vært en viktig del I dette arbeidet, og det på en måte laget en god plattform her som man også kan bygge videre på. En felles kommunikasjon og en felles plattform via Loop, og vi har tatt et veldig godt samarbeid med Loop og få det ut på sortere.no. Så det har vært en stordriftsfordel her, og vi har hatt en felles utarbeidelse, men selvfølgelig med spesialtilpassning til det enkelte pilotområdet. Og vi har fått medieoppslag I alle piloter, og nå vi har hatt en del brukerdialog tidligere, men nå skal gjennomføres en litt mer omfattende brukerundersøkelse nå I september. Disse brukerintervjuene har jo indikert på en måte at vi får god forståelse hvordan man skal sortere. Det har vært på en måte typisk at innbyggerne de synes det enkelt å sortere på ødelagt og brukbart, men bedømmingen her jo litt krevende. Dette merkesystemet nå tatt I bruk I piloten, så vel klart også å kunne rulles ut nasjonalt via Loop, og her viser jo noe av hvordan det gjort på sekkene. Her det fra Fredrikstad. Det har vært laget brosjyrer, enten man har fått dem utdelt I posten, eller det har vært digitale brosjyrer. Og det har vært laget noen filmer for hvordan forbruker skal sortere. Filmsnutter som ligger for så vidt også ute på sortere.no for å hjelpe til å bedømme tvilstilfeller da, om det skal være brukbart eller ødelagt. Ja. Så dette med direkte kommunikasjon og erfaring jo veldig viktig, sånn som vi ser det. Og spesielt har man da kombinerer dette med utdeling av sekker med tilhørende trykk og informasjon på sekker, så det en veldig effektiv kommunikasjonskanal. Det nok en del av det området hvor ikke man har delt ut sekker, at man har vært vanskeligere å nå fram til innbyggerne, selv man har brukt både SMS har vært brukt mye her, også for å få direkte kommunikasjon. Resultatene går litt sånn harelabb I dag, men vi får prøve å holde tiden så vi får litt spørsmål da. Vi har jo fått ganske bra høy utsortering uten at det gir en fasit. Det ikke en løsning som peker seg ut, og mengdetall jo ikke bare det eneste erfaringsgrunnlag, så her blir det nå å gjøre en oppsummering av alle erfaringene. Men at det en høy andel ombrukstekstiler alle strømmer, også I det som sortert som ødelagt, og for så vidt også I restavfallet, det viser jo på en måte at det mange som fremdeles ikke bryr seg om å ta den jobben, men kaster det meste rett I restavfallet. Det jo veldig enkelt, tror jeg, å starte med en løsning på gjenvinningsstasjonene, men den løsningen som testet bør nok forbedres. Både med fukt og løse tekstiler, men også kanskje på løsningen, selve containeren, og man bør kanskje også se på løsninger med automatisk tømming av disse tingene, så ikke blir for mye handling da, med manuell håndtering. Vi vil så langt så vil si at det både tostrøm og enstrømsmodell fungerer. Tostrøm da betyr at innbyggeren må skille, men enstrøm gjør at man kan blande. Og Det måtte ha vært litt viktig for dette prosjektet, har vært å holde det spørsmålet litt åpent, slik at man ikke konkluderer med en tostrømløsning ut fra andre hensyn, eller hva som kan være en totalt samfunnsmessig riktig løsning. Og vi setter i lys at alt må sorteres i fremtiden, så åpner det også i Norge. Før du eksporterer, så vil det også kunne legge klare føringer på valg av løsning, og hvor langt man skal gå for innbyggeren til å gjøre en sorteringsjobb. Potensialet for fibergjenvinning det i dag, men resten må materialens andre produkter, og ikke alt kan materialens NF&TA. Det markedet under utvikling, men det ikke slik at, og det veldig glad når jeg hører både i Finland og Danmark, at man setter i gang og med å utvikle markedet. Man kan ikke sitte og vente på at markedet tar 100%, men vi i en utviklingsfase, men det skjer mye. Så de som skal inn i dette, men de må jo jobbe med å finne ut hvordan de skal orientere seg og lage en beslutningsgrunnlag som både ser det kortsiktige og langsiktige. Og da det jo dette med at man må kunne tilpasse endringer i rammevilkårene og markedet over tid. Kanskje uten å gjøre noe særlig endringer i det informasjonen ut mot publikum. Så dette å ha et systemvalg som gjør det enkelt å møte brukerbehov, og en felles metode i bunn, det hadde vært veldig fordel om vi har hatt det i Norge, så ikke Kommune-Norge har mange løsninger på hvordan de skal lære opp innbyggerne til å sortere på tekstil. Så dette med nasjonal samordning på kommunikasjon og bygge på de erfaringene vi har nå, det vil være viktig fremover. Og dette med organisering på samarbeid og dialog og bygge videre på dagens løsninger, man må prøve å få til gode løsninger sammen med de som i dag inne i markedet. Og selvfølgelig søke kunnskap. Mye snakker om kunnskapsoppbygging nå, og ikke minst legge vekt på å sikre sporbarhet i hele verdikjeden. Så det vel det sånn kort og gærent jeg vil si i dag. Piloten avrundes nå i løpet av den praktiske delen, skal avrundes nå i løpet av denne måneden her, og så skal vi ha en studietur for å se på materialning og sortering i utlandet som planlegges her, og vi skal ha en sluttrapport i løpet av oktober. Noen ser på å videreføre disse pilotene og få til en mer permanent løsning, både BIR og både Bergen og Drammensregionen ligger det til rette for det, og de har ønske om å få det til. Og så det jo skal jo alle gjøre noe frem mot 2024 da, antageligvis. Og der det jo litt, sånn som dette prosjektet peker på, det skal jo nå avsluttes, men det jo behov for en fortsatt koordinering da, man skal nå få et mål om å få til felles prinsipper for selve sorteringen. Det var jo for eksempel i Malmö hos Sysav i går, og der har de valgt å gå for en løsning hvor innbyggeren skal sortere alt i en enstrømløsning, for eksempel, og ruller ut det der nede. Så det noen tråder her som bør avklares. Så jeg håper at noen tar ballen og fører den videre når vi avslutter prosjektet. Jepp, da tror jeg sier takk for meg, så får tid til spørsmål, Gro.
Ja, tusen takk, Frode. Vi gleder oss svært til denne sluttrapporten som vi kommer i løpet av oktober. Det blir spennende å se, og jeg tenker et nyttig verktøy forhåpentligvis også. Jeg ganske sikker på det, for de som skal begynne med å implementere løsningene i løpet av 2024. Da det tid for litt spørsmål og refleksjoner til slutt. Vi har satt av til 10:15. Jeg vet ikke om det noen som umiddelbart har noen spørsmål. Jeg ser at det har ikke kommet noe inn i chatten underveis, men her har vi Alina som rekker opp hånden. Vær så god.
Hi. I will take it in English if it is not, if it is okay. I'm just wondering, I'm new to textile collection, but you talked a lot that the textiles are wet, and I'm wondering if this is because of the textile, kind of the boxes where you are collecting them, that kind of water comes inside there, or if people actually deliver it wet. And if it is kind of the box itself, could we then not kind of easily solve it by changing the box design?
Good question.
Is that a question to me?
I think so, Kai. Yeah.
Okay, it's the whole range of reasons why the textiles are wet. I've been sorting several tons of the textile waste myself, and as I see it, then very few textiles are delivered wet. It's very rare that we receive a bag of very wet clothes. But exactly when the clothes become wet, it could be anywhere. It could come from the containers that are used for the collection. We know that different types of containers are used. Some of them are certainly not intended for the collection of textiles to keep them dry. Others are better. Then it also depends on the vehicles that are used for the emptying of the containers and the collection of the textiles, and then very importantly, how many times the textiles are handled before they reach the place where they're going to be sorted. That also affects it.
Thank you, Kai. I don't know if Anna, if you have anything to add to the question. I don't know how your collection system has worked out.
Well, we learned early on that outdoor bins are a problem in terms of because of the weather conditions. A lot of ours are collected indoors in warm, dry areas, and also how frequently the containers are emptied. So even though you instruct them to be wrapped in plastic, but water gets and damages. And then there are those people who wash the textiles beforehand, but then being a bit impatient, put them slightly damp into a plastic bag, but that and into the collection, which is, you know, great that they do that, but that's the majority. I think it's the collection places that really makes a difference to the quality and where it's collected. So we have advised that other waste management companies, please do it indoors, and then you get the better quality than outside collection bins.
Thank you. Kai?
Yeah, just to follow up on that, the collectors of reusable textiles have many years ago found out how to keep the clothes dry, also collecting outside. I mean, after all, then by far the majority of the reusable clothes are collected outside. And also in Denmark, we have a lot of rainy days. We still keep the clothes nice and dry, so we have found a solution to that.
Thank you, Kai. I don't know if anyone has any more questions. Oh, there we go. Alina again. Very good.
I have lots of questions. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
So you said, Kai, earlier that 30% of the textiles you collect are textile waste, and only 25% is collected as for recycling. Do you mean recycling only fiber to fiber? Is it recycling or also other types like downgrading? Recycling, like why is it like such a big chunk of waste?
The big chunk of waste is because of the collection methods that we just talked about. It makes a big difference if the clothes are delivered in plastic bags, for example, or not. Even perfectly good clothes that are put together with stinking, wet, dirty text.
We're struggling a bit with your sound, Kai. You're frozen a bit as well. So I think I'm just going to. Are you back with us, Kai?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, your connection was a bit off.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just.
No, yeah. I was just emphasizing the importance of putting the clothes in bags, because clean clothes can become very contaminated by other dirty clothes if they are not in bags. So the main reason for the big chunk of waste is the collection methods and not the clothes not being in bags. Then about the fiber to fiber recycle, frankly, I don't know that. We just sort out the textiles as recyclable, meaning they can be recycled either fiber to fiber or chemically or in any other way. That's for the next link in the chain to find out. For example, Siptex in Malmö.
Right, thank you, Guy. Frode?
I have a question to Anna. Thank you for a very interesting presentation, and I see you as a front runner, in developing the market for recyclable textiles. And but could you say something about what is the yield today of the total amount that you receive? What is actually going to recycling, and how much do you have to send to incineration today? I think in Norway is a kind of understanding that we cannot start to collect textile waste because there is no downstream solutions developed.
Yes, it depends on at which point you start. Is it the pre-sorting that you look at? Because at pre-sorting we take the resell out and things that don't belong. And there you have to consider that people put circular blades and cuts of meat into the collection bins at times. It's shocking what has been found in there. But it really depends. The better the collection quality is when you are able to collect in the areas where people are respectful and they want the good material to be recycled properly. Overall, historically, I would say about 30–40% we use as energy. But the reason why that is high is not only because of the damage, but also because we have items that we don't have a solution for. We have certain layered textiles that there is no even downcycling. I hate the word downcycling because as far as everything is recycling, but we should have a value for all of them, and not only just the resell, we should also have a value for the recycling content. And the fiber to fiber of cotton, for example, or wool has a value. But then when you start looking at the mixed textiles or the polyesters and the synthetics, they don't have a market value at the moment, but they cost as much to sort and process. So the aim is really to reduce that, what we call the waste or energy fraction, to as small as possible, but not at the moment possible because there are no solutions to everything.
But when you're looking in 2–3 years in time, what do you think then?
Oh, there'll be a lot more opportunities because the technologies of separating mixed fabrics chemically is coming, but you still have to have a solution for the separately collected materials as well. There's no point separating them if you don't have a solution and if they are not valued, because each process that you do costs money. So you have to look at how long are the supply chains, and at what point is somebody saying, well, I'm willing to pay for that because of the ethics of it, rather than just because you're used to buying as cheaply as possible and selling as expensive. But the value of the raw material has to be appreciated as well.
Thank you, Anna. We only have, we're actually run out now, Kai. I don't know if you want to do a 10-second reflection, or maybe we should, because we don't have time for any more questions. So
a very short one.
Yeah,
I do agree with Anna that we don't have the solutions for all the fractions yet, and I also agree in the time perspective that a couple of years ahead it will look much better. The detail about all the things that the citizens will maybe put in the together with the textile weight, that is not my experience. It's very, very rare that we get something that is completely off the category.
Yeah, great. Okay, thank you very much. I'm just going to finish this webinar now. We could probably talk for hours about this, but the time has run out. But thank you so much for contributing to the webinar today, and we hope to see you all soon in a future webinar. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.